Um, I'm going to invite Kyle Spencer, who runs the Internet Exchange Point in Uganda. He's representing the UIXP. He's going to be telling us interesting things about this. Kyle, let's have a conversation. You can take up a seat. Let me just get you the mic. Innocent, help me. Very quickly,
You can hear
Kyle,
me all right?
introduce yourself and tell us what you're doing.
Okay, so I'm hearing an echo. I guess we'll live with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, my name is Kyle Spencer. I'm here on behalf of the Uganda Internet Exchange Point. The Uganda Internet Exchange Point is like a switch that interconnects large networks in Uganda to each other so that communications traffic from Uganda for Uganda can stay in Uganda. Before the UIXP was started up in 2001, traffic between networks would have to leave the country and come back to go between networks. So if data went from MTN to UTL, it would have to leave the country and come back because there was no local point of interconnection. And back then that was awful because it was through space, because we didn't have submarine fiber optic cables until around 2009, 2010. So it's a hub of domestic communications. This is a common type of infrastructure that exists around the world. Next door in Kenya, there are, I think, 3 different providers of internet exchange services now. Rwanda has one, Tanzania has one. Europe, there are markets that have 5, 6, 7 different providers. But this is how you localize traffic. And by localizing traffic, you get a number of benefits. First of all, it's faster and cheaper to have a local path between networks because you don't have to take the long way, whether that's through fiber or through space. But also because the path is shorter, it's cheaper because there's less infrastructure required to carry it. And so it's lower cost, it's higher performance, and it adds a new path between networks in addition to the international one, which makes the internet more reliable generally. But then also it enables local hosting of websites and services, because if you don't have a local interconnection between networks and you have a website on, say, MTN, and the user wants to access it on UTL, that traffic has to get routed internationally. So if all your traffic is getting routed through Europe, why not just host your website in Europe, right? Because that's actually closer to the users on all the networks than a network in the country. But if you create a local point of interconnection like the Uganda Internet Exchange Point where all the networks talk to each other locally, then a website within the country makes more sense because that is the fastest path to the local users regardless of which network it's on. And so that's the core concept of an internet exchange point, of which we are one. So the idea is to make the internet faster, cheaper, more reliable, and enable local hosting so that we can bring more of the content that we consume, let's say, into Uganda, and therefore have to import less. And enable the hosting of our own local services, which hopefully we are exporting to some degree to users in other countries as well. The internet is very much an import-export business, right? When you don't host any content, you have to import all of it like food. But if you get internet exchange points and data centers and local services up and running, you can start to grow your own. And eventually, if you create food that's in demand across the borders, you can export that. And the goal, long-term, is to export more than you import and make money from the internet instead of spending money on the internet as a country.